What do Ben Habib, Suella Braverman, and Rupert Lowe all have in common? Well, they retweeted an article that I was in. We're going to go through this article really quickly, guys. I'll just prove it to you, actually. There's Ben Habib here. United Kingdom is riddled with racism against white people. DEI has gone mad. Now, MI5, MI6, and GCHQ only want applications from ethnic deprived minorities. They're not seeking talented people, just don't be white. Our security services are hijacked, as is our military, as is our police force, as is our education, as is our healthcare. Am I wrong? And here's Suella Braverman saying the same thing. British taxpayers fund MI5 and MI6, yet white Britons are excluded from internships. Discrimination in the name of diversity has gone too far. Equality means fairness. I've talked about this so much. A lot of people say to me on my channel, they say, Tim, all you're doing, mate, is just talking common sense. Yeah, well, someone has to. Look, the people in the comments are writing, yeah, you're right, Tim. Yeah, you're right, Tim. Yeah, you're right, Tim. Yeah, you're right, Tim. I see the same good names again and again in that comment section. Hit a comment down there, guys, and I'll see your good name too. Look, we're British people. We've got to get behind this. All right, we've got to sort this out. We know what's right. We know what's wrong. We've got to put pressure on our government here to sort it out. And this is what we see all the time, isn't it? Asian countries, black countries, white countries. We're white in the country and everyone else is pointing at us and saying, accept diversity, you racist bigots. White areas are the problems. I'm not going to read those other words out, but it's quite funny. And here it is, the actual application. We're confining the applications for this internship and paid internship, by the way. So they're robbing ethnic white British of financial resources at a very critical time in their age to those within this demographic due to a current underrepresentation in our workforce. Not sure if that's you. Scroll down to the bottom of this section for a full breakdown of eligibility criteria. Here we go. MI5, MI6, GCHQ, Summer Intelligent Internship. If you're in your final or penultimate year of university and from a black, Asian, mixed heritage or ethnic minority background, or from a socially or economically disadvantaged background, this internship will help you discover if a career in intelligence is right for you. Basically, white people not allowed. And last one before we go through the actual article itself then, guys, I'm sure you're aware. Here it says, as we said there, Asian British, black British, mixed heritage, or Romany, Gypsy, Scottish, or Irish travellers under white other, not white. I'd still press for this and go, well, I've got, some Welsh in me or something, and just see whether you can push it anyway. Why not? So here's the article then, as I said. So white British students not allowed to apply for security services internship, and it is decision described as blatant discrimination and racist as these security services try to increase diversity among their ranks. Now, here's the thing. People will say to me, hang on a sec, Tim. Maybe they need some minorities in there because minorities are doing more crime. Oh, stop. I'll sort you out in a second and we'll have a look at that. British intelligence services have launched a summer internship program, but white British students are banned from applying. I'm not even making this stuff up. Look, people say this must be illegal under the Equality Act 2010. So it's called positive action and positive discrimination. One is legal and one is illegals. If I've got 10 people on my law firm, this is where the Equality Act 2010 comes in. I've got maybe 10 men and then a woman and a man apply for a job. I go, right, I've got 10 men, but I've got John and Janet now applying for the job. Okay, so what I can do is I can use positive action to employ Janet over John if, and it says if in the Equality Act, I went through this a lot with the Royal Air Force, by the way, they are the same other than the fact that one of them is underrepresented. That's what I can do. However, I can't do it on a blanket measure. I can't just say, I don't want any white people. I just want black people. I want gypsies, travellers. I can't do that. That is against the Equality Act 2010. People get this wrong all the time, and I hope someone challenges this. Obviously, we're not allowing James Bond to apply anymore. Well, not if he's a white dude anyway. Chris Phillip, the Shadow Home Secretary, so a Conservative, called the internship programme racist and called for it to be axed. I understand the need to encourage applications from a wide range of backgrounds, including underrepresented minorities, he said. But this is an overtly racist policy and it should be immediately discontinued. It implies it is impossible for any white person to be deprived or deserving of assistance. Right, here's where I come in then. So obviously, I know a lot of journalists now. You know how it is, guys, all right? And I'm very careful who I speak to, by the way, but I'm also quite nice to them because they're just trying to bring this out. So I always say to them, what's your angle on this, brother? What's your angle? What are you trying to get out of this? And if it doesn't conform with me and integrity, honesty, discipline, honour, then I'm not going to help them out at all. However, I said one former senior Royal Air Force officer, me, said he believed the decision not to allow poor white students to apply is blatant discrimination. Very important, this. Not positive action, positive discrimination. Me, a former squadron leader, said opportunities are being denied to white children. That's just a fact. They cannot apply just because they are white. So let's break it down. Is that a factually correct statement? Yes or no? Yes, it's factually correct. They cannot apply because of their skin color. Flip it, guys, flip it. If it was saying no blacks allowed to apply, no Muslims allowed to apply, no Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists allowed to apply, yeah, we'd say, hang on a second, although these aren't races necessarily. This most definitely discrimination. We would say that. But for some reason, you can discriminate against white people in your own country. You can be racist towards white people in their own country. It doesn't matter, and that's fine. That's acceptable. He said that the RF had made a similar mistake when pursuing a recruitment policy, which led to accusations that it had discriminated against white men in its efforts to meet aspirational diversity targets. The Ministry of Defence subsequently admitted that despite the best of intentions, some mistakes were made. In its approach after reports of a recruitment drive which appeared to favour women and ethnic minorities. It didn't appear to, it just absolutely did. They stopped men joining. I've done loads of videos on this, guys. Don't worry about it. I'll put one of them at the end of this one so you can have a look if you want to. But the inquiry followed the resignation of the RAF's head of recruitment after she reportedly refused to honour to hire more diverse candidates because she believed it was unlawful. Look, one thing I'm just going to show you really quickly here. I thought we'd throw this one in. And one of the main reasons, and I'll finish with this now, guys, so it's a bit of a long video here, but if we look at why they might want to be recruiting not white British, it's because, to be fair, we're actually underrepresented in our prison population, whereas other, let's say, ethnicities or races or people that follow certain religions are overrepresented. So here we have Muslims, 18% of our population, for example. They make up actually about 5% of our population, but 18% of the prison population. That's it. Hindus, not many at all there. A make up of our population, 2% in. What Hindus doing, crikey. Sikhs, about the same as what you'd expect. Buddhists, they're about 2% of the prison population, only 1%. What are you doing, Buddhists? What are you doing? All right, you're overrepresented in prison. Square yourself out, sort yourselves out. Jews, pretty much what you'd expect, people without any relation at all. So they may be saying, you know what we're looking for here, some Asian people, maybe of the Muslim persuasion, because you guys are massively overrepresented in prison.
You've seen what happened when Europe opened their doors to jihad. Look at Paris, look at London. They're no longer recognizable. And I'm going to get myself into a lot of trouble with the folks in Paris and the folks in London. But you know what? That's the fact. They are no longer recognizable, and we can't let that happen to our country. We have incredible culture, tradition. Nothing wrong with their culture, their tradition. We can't let that happen here, and I'll never let it happen to the United States of America.
I'll leave you with this then from John Wong, a really good dude actually. He says, despite 6.5% of the UK population, Muslims represent 67% of terror attacks. In fact, I think 3/4 of people on the terror watch list are Muslims, which makes you realise why they're probably after people that aren't necessarily white people, because white people make up the mystical far right that no one can find, and there's only 25% on the terror watch list. Obviously, there's some birth defects due to first cousin marriages. I know that's in the news at the moment. Check this one. 84% of child gang, I'm not going to say the word on YouTube, they make up 84% of child abuse, as you can see there. Absolutely incredible. 18% of the prison population when they're only 5% of the population. We've talked about the rest of it. You know what I mean? It's incredible. So I can understand them. I can understand why GCHQ, MI5 and MI6 don't want white people. They want people from, let's say, outside the British white community. Doesn't make it right, still racist, and obviously young white people are not going to be able to get paid for going on this internship, this summer camp. Look, guys, I'm just saying it like it is. You know how it is. I appreciate you. Hit the comments. I do appreciate everything you do. All right, Tim Davis, Fast Performance.